Before we can actually have the conversation about why Ted Lieu needs to be reelected, let's first talk a little bit about who he is, okay? Ted Lieu is a Democrat. He, quite frankly, is a Democrat who supported the election of Hillary Clinton in the last presidential election cycle. He's running for re-election, and that election is on November 3rd of this year. He assumed office back in 2015, and should he not be reelected, his term will end on January 3rd of 2021. He's from the 33rd Congressional District in California. And he currently serves on two committees, those committees being the Committee on Foreign Affairs and the Committee on Judiciary. If you want to kind of examine, some of the many, many votes that he has taken, imperative votes, there's one that stands out for some people, and that's the vote of yes on impeaching Donald Trump for high crimes and misdemeanors, the HRES 755. He also sponsored AB 550, which for us was pretty important, considering that we are focused on economic stimulus and relief. AB 550, which it's not necessarily related to COVID-19. It is legislation that is focused on California financial literacy. It's an initiative. So that was, we feel that it's imperative that people be financially literate, right? He's running against James P. Bradley, a Republican. And if you want to look a little bit at his previous performance, Ted Lieu's previous performance from an election point of view, in the primary, he got 60, a little bit more than 60% of the primary vote, which is significant, for some. But when you look at his previous support, his support has actually dropped by almost 10% in the last election cycle. He had about 70% of the vote. So yes, he does hold a substantial percentage of the vote. But again, when you compare it to his last election cycle, his support has actually dropped. When you look at the lifespan of his political career, he's run in 6 races, and he's run in 8 races, and he's won 6 of those 8 races. So he has a 75% electability rate, which is something that we kind of look at as an organization. How electable is this candidate? How many races have they won compared to how many have they actually run in? He has a few, notable endorsements. He's endorsed by the Americans for Democratic Action, Children's Defense Fund, Common Cause, Freedom First Society, National Association of Police Organizations, which some might be like, oh my gosh, but it is what it is, right? He's also endorsed by Network, a national Catholic social justice lobby, Progressive Punch, as well as U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Obviously, he is endorsed by more, but for our organization, those were some of the notable endorsements that we felt you needed to know about. So that is, in a nutshell, who Ted Lieu is. In just a second, we're going to talk about why there should be support for Ted Lieu.